to Tamara Lackey, I don't know where you are, Tamara, and Coco, our newest addition. They'll grace our ground floor cafe here. So happy to have them as part of our Glen Lennox community, and certainly as an amenity for our tenants here at the Gwendolyn. One of our core values at Grubb Properties is what we call working together. So working together with the town, we did a development agreement that allowed us to do a meaningful and begin a meaningful redevelopment here at Glen Lennox. What you see at our Link Apartments Linden, and again the Gwendolyn behind me, a partnership working together with our investors who gave us their hard-earned capital to help make these projects a reality, working together with our design team, DB&M and Valentine Associates to design this beautiful building. And working together with our Grubb team and Clancy and Faze, the contractor that helped us make this building a reality. So wonderful. When we embarked on this journey with Rivers, we had three pillars of what we wanted to focus on for Glen Lennox. It's character, culture, and community. So we decided to name this building Clay Challenges. Don't name it Building 100 or some generic name that could be anywhere in any other community. Think about what it means to the university, to Chapel Hill, and to the community at large. So with Rivers' help, we've embarked on a journey to look at 4 names, and so proud that we can name this building after Gwendolyn Harrison Smith, who is a pioneer in her own right, and certainly we're honored to have her name grace our building here today. So happy that many of her family members could be here with us today to celebrate this occasion. I'm excited to announce that we have with us today Clay Grubb, our CEO. I don't know where Clay is. Thanks, Clay. Marquetta Walton is the Chief of Staff for the North Carolina Department of Commerce. Marquetta, thank you for being here today. Chancellor Kevin Guskowitz with the university. I know where Kevin is. Kevin, thank you for being here with us this morning. And Carla Brown and Dwight Smith, Gwendolyn's daughter and son, who will be saying a few words here in a minute. I'm pleased to announce, now that we have the Department of Commerce here, that we're very close to signing a deal with Industrious for the entire 3rd floor. That's their confidence in this community, in this market, and certainly their attraction to this building. So very glad to have them. Thank you to Don Shoup and Clayton Collins at CBRE, and Hellman Duncan and Taylor and Quiston with our JLL team for bringing that tenant here and making that a reality, a big first step for us here at the Gwendolyn. Without further ado, I'd love to ask Clay to come up and say a few words, and then we'll have a few words from the other folks. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Joe. I'm Clay Grubb with Grubb Properties, and I'd like to. There's so many people that I want to thank that helped get us here. That it's hard to start naming names because I leave so many folks out. And at Glen Lennox has a wonderful legacy. I tell the story of we've actually owned this property since 1985. My dad, for those who don't know, started this business as a home builder in red line neighborhoods, and he would charge whatever the advertised rate was at the bank. And so my joke growing up was that the way he was able to justify a not-for-profit finance division was he broke all the child labor laws. So at age 12, that's what I did, was collect mortgages and do amortization schedules by hand, and it taught a lot about compassion. When somebody broke their leg and couldn't go to the factory, we knew they couldn't make their mortgage payment. So you didn't try to evict them, you didn't try to charge them a bunch of penalties, you worked with them. You said, okay, we'll take 3 months off and you'll start paying an extra $15 when you're back working again. And it was a win-win, and hundreds of families own their homes outright who wouldn't have gotten that opportunity today. And then Glen Lennox, was an interesting opportunity, having been in our family since 1985. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Vanessa, who's been the property manager here since 1985. And Rodney, who next to her. He's, you know, he's still new on the job. He's only been here 21 years. We're getting him broken in. And so it's been great. And my team really pushed us hard pre-2008 to do something. And I was reluctant. Town of Chapel Hill has a reputation of being a very difficult town to work in, and so was nervous about, you know, pursuing something. And I actually was pushing my team to sell it, and said, look, you know, we should probably sell it. And I'm worried about where the future is, and worried about, you know, whether we could ever get anything approved. But I gave them the green light to, you know, see what they could do. Well, lo and behold, it brought out, at least in the city council, a comparison to the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. And they created a neighborhood conservation district to rezone the property whether we wanted to be a part of that or not. Fortunately, I had a lot of time in 2008 and 2009, and so I think it was 47 neighborhood meetings later, we came up with the current plan. And I'd like to thank, you know, I see Penny, who was a big part of that, many others who were involved, John, and a lot of the residents here, and really created, I think, something that's going to be very meaningful, not just for Chapel Hill, but for North Carolina. And I'm excited. You know, one of the big things that we didn't spend a lot of time on was biking, and how do we get people out of cars. And I was very fortunate. The Knight Foundation, you know, asked me to go to Copenhagen 3 or 4 years ago to learn about biking. And, you know, immediately I met these folks at Copenhagen Eyes, who are the premier biking infrastructure designers in the world, and was like, I've got the perfect project and the perfect town. And so we were their first North American private client, and brought them here. And now we've got the Department of Transportation actually has a stoplight on 15501, maybe the only one in North Carolina, that stops basically interstate level traffic exclusively for a bike or pedestrian to cross. And you know, we couldn't do that alone. It took a lot of people to believe in it and get behind it. And so I really, you know, appreciate the mayor and all the city council and the county commission and the university, all their support, and all my team at Grub Properties. And I look forward to meeting many of you folks that I haven't met. It was a interesting decision when we, you know, came across the story of Gwendolyn Harrison. And you know, I was really like, you know, we need to think different. We need to do something different. And hearing these stories, you know, was painful. And these stories need to be told. You know, Gwendolyn, you know, she got in primarily because her name sounded white. And they thought she was white. And then she showed up. And, you know, 99% of us would have packed up and gone home. And so it's exciting to be here, to be a part of it. And with that, I'm not sure who's after me. Okay. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. I'm very pleased to welcome up here Marquetta Welton. She, again, is the Chief of Staff for the North Carolina Department of Commerce. Marquetta, welcome. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I can breathe for a second. It's a pleasure to be here with you today, celebrating the opening of this beautiful office building, the Gwendolyn. The Gwendolyn holds so much potential. New ideas will be born here, partnerships will form here, businesses will blossom. But it's clear that the opening of the Gwendolyn is a true win for the Chapel Hill community, but not just because it offers an environment that breeds innovation, collaboration, and prosperity. This office building signifies much more than that. It highlights something that is often overlooked and sometimes intentionally ignored: the legacy of Black women. In 1951, Gwendolyn Lolita Harrison became the first Black woman to be accepted to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. This came 162 years after the university's founding and 74 years after white women were admitted. Ms. Harrison already had a degree in history, a master's in Spanish, and a career teaching at a prestigious college when she decided to apply for a PhD at UNC. She was accepted, assigned a room, and was eagerly anticipating beginning her studies when she arrived on campus. However, when Ms. Harrison went to register for courses, a UNC employee told her that her acceptance had been rescinded, that she would no longer be able to attend the university. Why? Because the university did not realize that Gwendolyn Harrison was Black. In the face of blatant bigotry, Ms. Harrison launched into action, determined to seek justice. She appealed to the university's administrators and wrote to the Board of Trustees. But they would not relent. She joined forces with the North Carolina NAACP, announced her intent to sue the university. UNC knew that their case did not hold water, as Ms. Harrison was a perfect PhD candidate. She had already earned her admission. Shying away from the ensuing legal battle, they settled and told her she was readmitted. But sadly, this story is eerily reminiscent of Nicole Hannah Brown's some 70 years after Ms. Harrison's. Though Ms. Harrison did not spend more than a summer semester at UNC, she forever left her mark on the university. She paved the way for other Black women, like Karen Parker, who became the first Black woman to enroll at Carolina undergrad in 1963, and Hortense McClinton, who became the first Black female faculty member in 1966. More than that, her story sent a message. It told Black women across the state that speaking out against inequitable and exclusionary treatment is key to changing the status quo. That each individual act of bravery in the pursuit of equality makes the journey a little bit easier for sisters following in their footsteps. It also told state leaders that if they continue to ignore Black women as invisible, unimportant, or less than, that they would be met with good trouble. Like countless other Black female trailblazers in North Carolina, like Ella Baker, one of the leading figures in the civil rights movement, like Pauli Murray, civil rights and women's rights activist, warrior, educator, author, poet, and the first African-American woman to become an Episcopal priest, like Annie Brown Kennedy, Sherry Beasley, and even our own North Carolina Commerce Secretary, Michelle Baker Sanders. Gwendolyn Harrison's name is all too often left out of our history books, and therefore our public discourse. We must understand that our past informs our future. Understanding our history allows us to learn from our mistakes instead of replicating them. What we memorialize represents what we value as a community, what we take pride in as a nation. In honoring Gwendolyn Harrison with this building as her namesake, the Grove Properties is not only bringing overdue attention to her legacy, it is helping to encourage the conversations regarding the intersection of race, gender, and history, and how what we do today shapes our future. I would like to extend my warmest thanks to those who created this beautiful property and who prioritized commemorating Black history by honoring Gwendolyn Lolita Harrison Smith's legacy and naming it the Gwendolyn. Here's to the Gwendolyn, here's to Gwendolyn, and thank you to her family for being here and allowing us this time. And all those who came before her and those yet to come. Thank you.
Marquetta, thank you. That was wonderful. I'd like to invite up next Chancellor Guskowitz. Kevin, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Joe, and it's such a pleasure to be here. And I want to thank you, Clay. I want to thank Grubb Properties for being such a wonderful partner to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, as well as the local community. We're excited about this new project here. We're equally excited about the project downtown at 137 East Franklin Street, where we're going to partner with Grubb Properties there to sort of expand our innovation corridor down into the downtown area. And it's especially exciting that Grubb Properties has chosen to name this building after Gwendolyn Harrison Smith, one of the most important figures in our university's history. And I love the history that you provide for us. It's really very special. Today I want to make to share an exciting announcement. And Grubb Properties has created the Gwendolyn Harrison Smith Diversity Graduate Student Excellent Fund. This scholarship in a College of Arts and Sciences will be used to recruit prospective diverse students who apply to graduate school at Carolina. The gift of $100,000 from Grubb Properties will produce an annual payout of $5,000 a year to support our graduate students. Gwendolyn, as we just heard, was the first Black woman to enroll at Carolina, and her courage and commitment have inspired students across our campus for decades. She challenged our university to be better, a challenge that is still ringing true today. She received her graduate degree in Spanish, and so establishing this fund for our graduate students mirrors her time at Carolina and honors her and her family in this wonderful way. The Gwendolyn Harrison Smith Diversity Graduate Student Excellence Fund will be used to recruit top talent to Carolina. And I can tell you that being a faculty member here for 26 years, how important graduate students are to carrying out the mission of this great university and teaching, research, and service. And I want to acknowledge Dean Terry Rose from the College of Arts and Sciences for being with us today. Terry, thank you. I know you feel the same way about the importance of excellent graduate students. So I just want to thank Clay Grubb and Grubb Properties for their support of this important gift to the university and to future graduate students at Carolina. And the Smith family, it's an honor to be with you today, and I just want to thank you for the opportunity. Thank you.
Kevin, thank you so much. I'd like to ask Carla Brown to come up and say a few words, and then followed by Dwight Smith.